Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in. In today's video we're going to take a look at the photos of the first analog film that I shot, at least as an adult. I think the last film that I shot was when I was 13 years old, where we tried to capture skateboard tricks. So yeah, before we get started, my name is David and I record street photography POVs here on the channel, as well as camera tips and tricks videos. I'm also a beginner photographer, so if you want to join me on my journey, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you will never miss when I upload a new video. Okay, so I went to my local camera store the other day to see what kind of film cameras they have. I think they had 3 cameras in total, and the one that I picked was the Yashica FX-103 Program. This camera came with a 50mm lens that goes down to 1.7, and yeah, I basically just liked the look of this camera. What I liked about it is the fact that it is not just a simple point and shoot camera. I do have a little bit of control over the settings, but yeah, let me tell you this, it didn't go quite as expected. Okay, so because I basically had no experience with film cameras, the person that I bought the camera from loaded in a roll of Kodak Gold 200 for me, and unfortunately left the ISO set to 400, which I realized I think after the first 10 or 15 photos. So you will see that most of the photos are underexposed, but I also switched it back to 200 for some photos and even overexposed some photos to kind of get a reference and see what kind of a difference it makes. For some reason though, a lot of these photos ended up being super yellowish. I have no idea why, maybe something went wrong in the lab, but maybe you have an idea. Maybe that happens when you underexpose Kodak Gold 200. So yeah, don't expect too much from this first roll of film. There are a couple good photos though. And yeah, I just wanted to get a good feeling for this camera and actually test how the lens performs and what a roll of Kodak 200 can do. So without any further ado, let's switch to the PC and have a look at the photos. Okay, so right here we're looking at some of the earlier photos that I took, and I took these 3 right after I realized that I was shooting in the wrong ISO. So the photo on the left is shot in ISO 400, which means it is underexposed. The one in the middle is shot at 200, so it is exposed properly. And the photo on the right is overexposed, and I shot that with the ISO set to 100. All these 3 photos are unedited, so yeah, this is just basically an exposure test. So I hope you're not hungry because the next photo is a cheeseburger. And yeah, this is me testing the aperture set to 1.7, so fully open, to kind of see what kind of background blur I can get out of this lens. This is actually one of my favorite images, and I wish this was not underexposed because I lost a lot of details here in the shadows, as you can see. And the edit that I came up with is, yeah, a simple black and white shot, which I really like. So this photo right here is a self-timer test, and as you can see, I completely missed focus on this one. So the next photo is actually one of my very favorites, and it is this simple shot where the subject is in the middle, and I actually don't remember at what aperture I shot this photo, but I really like this one after I edited it. Okay, so here we have another exposure test. These are again 3 photos where the first one is shot at the ISO set to 400, the one in the middle is set to 200, so it is exposed properly, and the one on the right is overexposed with the ISO set to 100. I found it really interesting on how the colors change between these 3 photos and how it gets more neutral the more you overexpose. And this is the photo with a little bit of editing where I just try to make it appear more neutral. So yeah, I really had high expectations for these 2 photos, but as you can tell, it didn't turn out as I had imagined. There was a car passing by there on the left side, which I thought would make a nice light trail. Didn't work out at all. Also, the photo of the hotel is, yeah, it's just not what I had in mind when I took the photo. This right here is a simple shot of my cat outside in the garden. Kind of like the composition here where the cat is on the right and the sprinkle, what is it? I don't know what that's called. On the left side, it is still super underexposed. We are losing a ton of details there in the shadows, and I also didn't know what kind of edit to put on that, so I left it pretty basic. Don't like the edit at all, to be honest. So yeah, let's move on. So right here you can see what happens if you have the focus set to infinity and you're a little too close to the subject. So yeah, we're missing focus, as you can see, and yeah, still not sure about the colors of these photos, but at this point they're 100% exposed properly. So yeah, let's move on. So this right here is another photo shot at sunset, and I really liked how that couple just sat there, and there's that statue in the middle, the blue keyboard, and in the background there is this carousel going on. So there's a lot going on in the scene here. I really liked how the sun is coming into the scene and how the couple was highlighted. Also really liked this edit, pretty much one of my favorite photos of this roll of film. The next one is pretty much a close-up shot of the same scene. I think I even like that one better than the other one, but yeah, I was kind of working with the shadow here a little bit more. And right here you can see the edit, which I also really like. So what I ended up doing with most of these photos is turning down the yellow and replacing it with orange, so it kind of gets that more natural look. At least that is much more true to the scene as the yellow tint that we get on all these photos. This is another one of my favorites. When I took the photo, I thought that was absolutely amazing, but I should have overexposed this one for sure. I still like how the bridge or these lights are framing the photo or the subject, and there were two kids coming in with bikes and this couple there in the background walking towards me. And I also like kind of how the cars are basically working as a leading line here. So on to the last image. So I was walking home and I was basically almost past that bird sitting like literally right next to me, and I noticed it in the very last second. So I turned around. He was not shy, not flying away, nothing. I took, I think, the last 3 or 4 photos of the bird, and this was pretty much the only one where I hit focus. So that is the last photo of the roll. So yeah, that was my very first roll of film. I gotta be honest, I was expecting a little more when I got back these photos. Though I think I was able to, yeah, kind of save a lot of them with a few simple edits. As I said, if you have any suggestions on what I should do better or what I should change next time, please let me know down below in the comments. I actually picked up the Nikon AF600 and a few rolls of Ektar 100 and Portra 400. I'm super excited to test that camera with these 2 films. So yeah, if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe. Well, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video.